You are Locked On Heat Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Miami on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is up, Heat fans? Welcome to another episode of your Heat Postcast. My name is Jim Grieshaber. Call me Gries, G-R-I-E-S, at Jim Gries _ on social media. And what an emphatic way for your Miami Heat to snap their three-game losing streak tonight. The three-game skid still their longest of the season as they put it on the Golden State Warriors, the four-time NBA champs with Steph Curry and Draymond Green. They put it on the Golden State Warriors in San Francisco for the second consecutive time, and they beat the Golden State Warriors 114-98 tonight, and a beautiful team game. 6 players in double figures, defense all over the floor, rebounding, the heart, the effort, the desire, the intensity. Look, this is a back-to-back, but it's not your average back-to-back. They took a bus ride an hour from Sacktown, where they lost to the Queens last night in double OT. Sorry, it's a habit, the Queens, Shaq. But, hey, Shaq played for the Heat. Give me a break. But not when he said Queens. Anyway, I digress. 77-mile bus ride, and they whooped some Warrior ass tonight. They got on top early. They put the hands around the throat. They choked the life out of them. Golden State got close late, and the Heat pulled away. And each time, a scoring burst from a player you wouldn't expect a scoring burst from, right? In the first quarter, it was Jaime Jaquez Jr., and in the fourth, it was Nikola Jovic, and that was unbelievable. And they were both actually 9 points in a row. And if Jovic would make his free throws, it would have been 11 for him. But he had a big night off the bench. The Heat bench on the road on a back-to-back. They put it on Golden State, and they get a big, big win to go one game above 500. Important to not go below, right? And on a night when Tyler Hero, well below his average, on a night when Jimmy Butler's serving game 3 of a 7-game suspension, Miami Heat looking like world beaters in this one. And granted, the Warriors didn't have Jonathan Kuminga or Gary Payton Jr., but small technicalities, But tonight's show, this episode of your Heat Postcast is brought to you by... Any guesses? Anyone? Bueller? FanDuel. From big upsets to game-winning drives, the NFL playoffs, and no one gets that reference anymore. The NFL playoffs are better with FanDuel. New customers can bet $5, just $5, and you get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Win or lose, visit FanDuel.com to get started. And speaking of getting started, we know you love getting started with Locked On Heat with the guys. They do a great job every day, and we know you love finishing with the postcast here with me. Something about saving the best for last. I don't know, possibly. But I will say this. Want to start your day with something more from the greatest network in podcasting? Yes, I said it, and I dare anyone to challenge it. Your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. That's right. Locked On Heat, daily newsletter. One stop for ultimate team and leave coverage delivered right to your inbox. And I'm just bang right there with that. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. LockedOnDaily.com. And start your day with the all-new free Locked On Heat newsletter. All right, there you have it, my friend. And what a nice performance by the Miami Heat tonight. I literally, gotta mute that right there. That doesn't make any sense. What in the world just happened? All right, that's good. Way to work the guest, Jim. They're going to hire me a producer one of these days, and I'm not even going to ask for it. That was just me putting my cell phone up so I could upload a couple of things, and I put myself in the show. Technical brilliance from yours truly, but you're not here for the technical skills. You're here for this, to break down, to celebrate the revelry of the victory in San Francisco. And they go to Utah now, so there's no time to sit there and enjoy it. It's a road trip. They're out west. But, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Give me a Moto Award, slap it on my forehead, M-O-T-O, master of the obvious, right? But I'll say this. Teams galvanize on the road. You're at home, and I'm just going to say it, and my girlfriend's sitting right there. And if you see something hit me in the head, you know why. But distractions when you're at home. Your lady, your significant other. If you're single, maybe you got dogs. I don't know. You got kids. You got responsibilities. You're in your neighborhood. These guys aren't cutting their grass, but you know what I'm saying. You're always got stuff. You got buddies coming through. You got tickets to worry about. But when you're on the road, and I love road trips as a play-by-play guy and being on that bus or on that plane with the teams all these years, when you're on those trips, I've seen it happen 1,000 times. These teams galvanize. They come together as one. And this Miami Heat team has been through a lot. It must have been great to get out of Miami. I mean, the talk radio is not so great in Miami. It isn't exactly like it's New York City where they're going to be killing them day in and day out all day about, the Heat not playing well. But, the Pat Riley, Jimmy Butler thing and all those things that are happening, it is not an easy situation for anybody. And the players are the ones who feel the brunt, and they can say it's not a distraction. And, when you're practicing, when you're playing, it really isn't. They can say that all they want. But here's where it becomes an issue, is it just starts to wear on you. Everybody's playing extra minutes. You don't have your best player. You don't have the guy who draws all the fouls, not all of them, but who leads that charge for you, just taking the ball to the rim, drawing fouls. The defensive intensity, the tone that is set by Jimmy Butler. But Lord forbid Pat Riley told him to shut his mouth. And why did Riley do that? Why? Why did Riley do that? I'll tell you why Riley did that, because he knew what was going to play out with Jimmy Butler. He knew he wasn't going to extend him, and he knew that this would happen. Because why? Because Pat Riley is a basketball savant, and we are not. So in Riley, we trust, right? We say that to the bitter end with the Miami Heat, with everything he's done since he got here in 1996. And I'll never forget, I was at the Rex Chapman game. I was at that game. That was Riley's first year with the Heat. The next year, man, it was Riley, and it was Mourning, and it was Hardaway, and it was the Knicks series, and it was the Bulls series, and it was all those things that were happening as a result of that. But it was absolutely pandemonium at Miami Arena, and you just knew someday they'd win big. And they did with Shaq and Wade, and they did with the Heatles, and they've been to the finals twice with this version of this team, with Jimmy Butler as the leader. But now it's time to blow it up again. But, in Riles we trust. They had that one lull in the 2000s when Wade was the second best player on earth behind Kobe. Well, third, Kobe. I always begrudgingly give it to LeBron. You got to forgive me on that one. And I'm sure there's not a ton of love here for LeBron James. I mean, there's some, right? He won you 2 titles, 4 finals in a row. And what a shock. These won't upload on StreamYard. Taking too long. Have to start over. All right, there we go. Come on, baby. The wheels are spinning. Remember Chris Rock? They're spinning, baby. They're spinning, but it's not letting me in. So we have a bunch of things that we need to upload for you here, like the final score graphic, the stars of the game, the turning point, and we'll get to those a little bit later in the show. We'll talk about the team stats and what those meant tonight, specifically Miami's points in the paint, rebounding, hustle plays for the Heat. You see it up there on your screen. Resilience plus heart, ball movement. And you look at the guys in double figures. This is funny. None of these things will upload for me again. It's great. But I'll say this, and that one didn't even take any time at all before it rejected it. But let me see here if I can get this to work. Anything, please, just work. Anyone? Anything? Nope, never mind. All right, well, anyway, we're still here, and I'll tell you this. What an awesome performance team-wise for Miami. I'll worry about that stuff a little bit later on, but for right now, I'm just going to get myself out of this, here's back out of that room there for a minute. All right, so we're looking at the game, and we're talking about the Heat and the Warriors, and you're talking about a team Miami had lost 3 in a row. 2 of those losses at home, right? Back-to-back, man, back-to-back L's. At home. Last night I took a L, but tonight I took another one. That's what they were doing, right? They took some L's. And it was the Pacers and it was the Jazz. And then they go and they play a really good game last night in Sacktown, right? They played a really good game at what used to be, I don't know what it is now, it's the Cow Palace, but they played a good game until the very end. They got tired. They looked worn out. Sacramento was beating them to loose balls, getting second chance points. Sabonis got 2 offensive rebounds right over Bam. And you know what I'm saying? It just was not a great thing, but well past the hour of midnight on the East Coast. And the Heat tonight, and that was last night too, tonight, a bus ride over, a back-to-back, and you're thinking, wow, if they were dead tired in the fourth quarter in those 2 overtimes last night and let Sacramento play their way back in the game without De'Aaron Fox, if they were that tired last night, what makes you think on a back-to-back they'd have any energy at all? You think they're going to get blown out by 30 points. That's what all the odds makers will tell you. The Dubs were a 9.5-point favorite tonight because of it. The only problem for Golden State is Steph Curry's like the only guy who showed up, and we'll have more on that. Un momento, por favor. But, yeah, nice little bus ride for Miami. They got smoked by the Pacers by 13. The Jazz beat them by 36. And then the Kings got them by 5 in OT. But again, the road trips, the galvanization process, it's just the players and the staff, the intimacy, they're gone. They don't have the distractions and the comforts, for that matter, of home. It is all about basketball. You spend way more time with your teammates on the road. It really is, and especially these long trips, they're going to come back a much different team. They're already a much different team than they were when they left, right? And you know this, man. But I'll tell you this too. 114 points tonight from Miami. And the way that they shot the ball was just phenomenal. And we're going to get into that on the other side. Miami with a total team effort tonight. Count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players in double figures, and only 3 of them were starters. We'll tell you who they were when we come back. We'll look at the team stats as well. Tell you in the areas in which Miami won the games within the game that allowed them to actually get that dub. Then, of course, the star of the game, the turning point, and the final score graphic before we get you ready for Utah and Thursday night. No drinking, multiple wives. Just kidding. I mean, come on. It's sports. They took Dwayne Wade. What do you want me to do? It's Heat Postcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Jim Grieshaber. Call me Gries is going to tell you about one of our amazing sponsors giving you an even more amazing offer in just a second. And that sponsor would be Prizepicks. I love Prizepicks. I mean, any chance I get to make a game within the game, just like I talked about with the stats, right? To have fun while you're having fun, to add layers to your fun, right? You ever heard, you've had the 7-layer dip, right? Or the 10-layer nachos. My 10-layer nachos, I'm just saying. But those 10 layers, right? Yeah. The games within the game, the fun within the fun. You always want to layer your fun, and Prizepicks is a great way to do that. Basketball season heating up, and there's no better way to get real money action while watching your favorite NBA stars than with Prizepicks. Whether you're a diehard fan or you just love some friendly competition, yeah, right. Prizepicks makes it fun and easy to turn your basketball knowledge into cash. Here's how it works. You pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Let me say it again. 1,000 times your cash. You think LeBron's going to drop 30? He's defying Father Time. Why not? Or maybe Luka. He lives on the second floor. He's going to get more than 8 assists. Prizepicks lets you make your predictions and put your money where your mouth is in just 60 seconds. I love doing it all the time. I never pick Jason Tatum for over anything. I always go under on Tatum. Sometimes I pay for it. I hate the Celtics. What do you want me to do? Anthony Edwards, always more than 25. And with Prizepicks flex pay option, say that 5 times fast, even if one of my picks doesn't hit, I can still double my money. Plus, once I hit, I get my money fast. Give me my money, man. In as quick as 15 minutes. It's honestly the best way to keep the game exciting, and now's the perfect time to join. Download the app today. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. That's right. No need to win to get the bonus. It's guaranteed, just like NBA contracts. Prizepicks. Run your game. All right. Heat Postcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Jim Grieshaber, call me Gries. I be the handsome bald guy you see when you put us on YouTube, Locked On Sports Miami. If you can't take the sight of my face, and I don't blame you, most people in my life get sick of it, on the daily, you can listen to it wherever you get your podcasts, and then you don't have to see this face, right? Whether you like it or not. But I kid, and you can watch it or listen to it anytime, but you can do it on Spotify. You can do it on Stitcher, Podbean, Apple Podcasts, iHeart you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that was corny. But things just fly out of me. It's a 30-minute show, and the camera's right here the whole time. But, man, I'm just excited. Bam Adebayo with a big game tonight for Miami. 19 points and 9 rebounds, 5 assists, a couple of big dunks down the stretch for Bam. And the Warriors have an undersized front line, so Bam could finally breathe again. You know what I'm saying? And the Heat snapped the 3-game losing streak with a 114-98, the 16-point win at Golden State. They drubbed the Dubs. How about that? Drub the Dubs. That's a t-shirt. Someone give me credit for that, and let's make some money. Anyway, Steph Curry, 31 points, out of his mind, bananas for the Warriors. The guy doesn't age. He runs 100 miles a night. It's just unbelievable, Stephen Curry, what he's done in his career, how he's changed the game. It is such a privilege and an honor and a pleasure and everything else, before I get too crazy here, to watch him every time he laces them up. And we never really truly appreciate the greatness until it's gone. And, you know, it's understandable. But just like when D-Wade was here, or when LeBron was here, or, you know, Shaq, it just is. You got the greatness, you appreciated it. And that's Steph Curry, 31 points tonight. And Draymond Green had a double-double, rebounds and assists, 10 and 10. And how about my man Trace Jackson Davis with 19 points and a couple of emphatic dunks? But how about my other man, Nikola Jovic, consecutive baseline threes, one of which could have been a 4-point play. He missed 3 free throws, but he scored 9 points in a row for the Heat in the fourth quarter. The Warriors got to 87-86, and Jovic made it happen, just like Jaquez Jr. did in the first quarter. awful shooting to start the game by both teams, by the way. And then Jaquez Jr. got it going, scored 9 straight points for the Heat in the first quarter. You look at Miami, they had forced 4 turnovers in the first quarter. It was a big reason they got out to the big lead in the game. We're up 29-23 at the end of one. Golden State 9 for 28 shooting in the first quarter, and that would become a theme of the game. That would become a theme because the Golden State Warriors did not shoot well tonight. And so when you look at it, it's just Miami's defense was all over the floor. They had 2 buzzer beaters in the first half, by the way. Yeah, Duncan Robinson and Alec Burks with buzzer beaters. Haywood Highsmith in the second quarter with a tip-in. It was Duncan with a 3 at the end of the first, Highsmith at the end of the second. What would that prop bet be on FanDuel? Buzzer beaters by the Heat, by one team at the end of each quarter in a half, 2 of them. What would the odds be on that? Someone from FanDuel, please let us know. And then the second quarter hits, and, that's not the Heat's best quarter usually. It's a little Golden State run to start the quarter, cuts the lead to 3, right? And then the Heat with a quick 5-0 burst. Duncan Robinson with a 3, and then a steal, and he hits Jovic on the fast break layoff. Duncan in spurts, there's nobody like Duncan. You know what I'm saying? The Dunkmeister in spurts, just hitting those big, long threes. And in transition, he's long, he's lean, and he has a hard time, or teams have a hard time locking him up. And then Jaquez hit a couple of shots, but then Curry started cooking. You know what I mean? And then, the Miami Heat at halftime, you know what I mean? They had a, let's see, where were they at halftime? I had this right in front of me here. Give me a second. There it is at halftime. Yeah, Miami, 2 very good quarters, the first and second quarter. You're up by, 61-48 at halftime. And then in the third quarter, the Warriors won the quarter by 7. And that was when Steph hit a couple of big threes, and that was when Trace Jackson-Davis had 9 points in the quarter. Miami went a little cold, got a little stagnant on offense. Tyler didn't have a good night overall anyway, and more on him in a minute. Where are we at on the clock? Get this box score and the team stats and everything. A couple minutes left in the segment. All right, let's do that now. But really, it was the defense. It was the deflections. It was the quickness, the intensity all over the floor. But the ball movement from Miami tonight, Eric Spoelstra, let me explain something about coaching in the NBA and about Spoelstra. I've known him since we were in our 20s. We were both interns. I was an intern on Sunday Night Sports Wrap with Jim Manich and Jeff DeForest, and he was video intern at the Miami Heat, so I'd go pick up the highlights from Spo, who's now one of the greatest coaches walking God's green earth and one of the biggest celebrities in the game, and he was just Spo. And he still is just, what a great dude, still just Spo. Epitomizes the Heat culture, right? But I'd pick up the video, and it was a video. It was it wasn't a high Heat. It was one of the big, I don't remember what it was, but it was it a beta? Please tell me it wasn't a beta, because I'm not a beta. But anyway, I'd pick up the highlights from Spo, and look at the career paths, right? And I'm still talking about him to this day. God bless Spo. But every coach loves the hustle, the rebounding, the defense, and the ball movement. This is a coach's dream for Spo tonight, and for me as well, to do this show. When you look at the box score for your Miami Heat, and you look at 6 players in double figures, you look at the bench scoring. 49 points from your bench on the road is unheard of, man. That's astronomical. Highsmith with 5, Rozier with 9. Couldn't quite get into double figures. Rozier's been struggling with his shooting. He has that dog in him. You love the dog in Terry Rozier, but man, oh man, he does miss a lot of shots right now. He's not really shooting well at all. But here's the double figures, right? You had 19 from Bam and 9 rebounds. These are the starters. 18 from Jaquez Jr. with 5 rebounds. 14 with 8 rebounds and 3 assists from Tyler Hero. By the way, Terry Rozier, 5 assists and 5 rebounds. And that goes along with those 9 points. So, not terrible overall, but he can be better. Duncan Robinson, 4 of 5 from 3, has 12 points, 8 assists in the game for the Dunkmeister. 11 points for Alec Burks, was really good. Tonight had 9 in the fourth quarter when the Warriors were making a run and the Heat put it away. Khalil Ware had 6, just couldn't find his groove out there tonight. Christopher Larson and Johnson played, didn't score, but it was the very end of the game. And here comes Nikola Jovic. How about Jovic? 20 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. We got stiff competition for the star of the game tonight. Meanwhile, for the Dubs, who did get drubbed, Steph Curry, as always, Steph Curry leads the Warriors in scoring. What else is new? 31 points, 7 rebounds. It's ridiculous. He's like 6'1", 7 rebounds. 11 for 22 and 8 of 17 from 3 for Steph. 19 for Jackson Davis, but he was scoreless in the fourth quarter when it matters most. Buddy Hield in double digits with 11 for the Dubs, and we're about to hit a break. Team stats real quick. Where'd the Heat win? Shooting. They shot almost 50%, 47%, held the Warriors to a bad shooting night. Golden State shot 28% from three. Miami shot 40% from three. They got to the line 17 times to 5 for Golden State. They only got out-rebounded by 4, 52-48. That never happens for the Heat. Assists, Miami had 4 more than Golden State. Turnovers, they forced 12. Fast break points, they won. Points in paint, they only lost by 2. And, that's just the way the Miami Heat win games. They were a 9.5-point dog tonight. The total was 215.5. And guess what? It came in at 216. Do they know what they're doing or what? In Las Vegas. This is your Heat Postcast. Jim Grieshaber. Call me Gries. Gries at Jim Gries _ on social media. Give me a follow, make you holler. I do a lot of cool stuff in my career, so love to see you there. But the important reason why we're here right now, you are enjoying this Miami Heat victory way past the hour of midnight on the East Coast. Odds are, if you're watching right now, you can't sleep. And why would you want to after a game like this? 114-98, you go on the road. You've been on the road, but you go to San Francisco and you drub the Dubs, baby. You beat the Warriors. Warriors come out and play. They didn't come out and play tonight. Miami with the big win. On the other side, we wrap it up. On the other side, we get you ready for Utah. On the other side, you notice me going backwards? I can backpedal. And on the other side, we give you the final score graphic. We give you the turning point, and we give you the stars of our show besides me and you. You know what I'm saying? But you can hit us up in the comments. Make sure you hit that bell so you know when we have more content coming your way. You can engage in the chat anytime you want. And make sure you subscribe, please. That really helps us with what we're doing. We appreciate you being here. You everydayers, of course. And then the newbies, welcome, welcome, welcome. Yo, what up, Daniel Barry, Sports Highlights? What up, Remy? What up, Jude? Never too late to hear some Miami Heat news, baby. Yes, Warriors come out and lose, says Remy. I love my peeps in the chat. Appreciate you holding me down and keeping it strong. And meanwhile, I just wasted 2 minutes, and I'm going to get yelled at again because I'm late for a break. They don't yell at me. I'm just saying I'll get told about it. But I'm talking to you, my peeps, and that's what matters. Other than right now, just another great offer to tell you about from another incredible sponsor of ours. And this time, oh man, it's FanDuel. And how many of you had the Heat and the over tonight? They were given 9.5. That's a no-brainer coming off. I mean, if you follow the Heat at all, 3-game losing streak, and it's a bus ride, not a plane trip. You're not traveling all night, checking in hotels. It's just a bus ride. You had to feel like the intensity was going to be breakneck. You had to feel like the Heat were literally going to come out like it was the first game they were allowed to play in a year. And everyone told them you can't play basketball for a year. And this was their first game back. You knew they were going to have that kind of intensity, right? Right? Because of a 9.5-point dog. So this is where you beat the odds makers on nights like tonight when you know more than they do. And you watch this show. I'm just saying. Heat Postcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. From big upsets to game-winning drives, the NFL playoffs are way better with FanDuel. And stop this nonsense about Josh Allen being the MVP. And just stop what you're doing to Lamar Jackson. He's a black quarterback who can throw and run. Deal with it, the rest of you who don't want to. Anyway, the NFL playoffs much better with FanDuel because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. The FanDuel app gives you everything you need for live bets, same-game parlays, and so much more. Visit the website and share betting lines around your team or league, and you do that by visiting FanDuel.com to join today. Get started with $200 in bonus bets at FanDuel.com. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And we tell you again about the newsletter. Look, the Locked On Heat guys are phenomenal. I love watching that show, man. I really do. And I'm not BSing you. I really enjoy that show, Locked On Heat. And after the games, you're here. So now what makes it even better? Your favorite podcast now has a newsletter, Locked On Heat, daily newsletter, one stop for Ultimate Team and League coverage delivered right to your inbox, to you personally. That hand-delivered touch and feel. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. It's LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with the all-new free Locked On Heat newsletter. All right. Reset here. Let's see if we can have any more luck uploading these things. And doesn't like to cooperate all that often, but it usually sneaks in under the wire. We'll give you the final score. We'll give you the player of the game, stars of the game. And we will give you the turning point. And that's something that we got for you here on Heat Postcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. No more football. Thanks, Dolphins. No more football. Thanks, Canes. But, it was a terrible season for the Dolphins, and the Canes a terrible finish. But with no more football, that means we are focusing and we are locked in and locked on your Miami Heat. So day in and day out, Locked On Heat, right here after the games, Heat Postcast, same thing Thursday at Utah. And I make fun of a lot of things, and I say stupid things like multiple wives and no alcohol, silly, joking around. But, it's fan talk. And I think the Heat, I'm not mistaken, they've won 2 in a row in Utah. And when I think of Utah, I still think of Karl Malone and John Stockton, man. And Karl Malone and John Stockton, one of the greatest combos of all time. And, they had those 2 championship runs to the finals and lost to the Jordan Bulls. And, the Utah Jazz since then have been what the Utah Jazz always were. There's just nothing special about them. Never has been, never really will be. And this team's no different. They're one of the worst teams in the league. Ridiculous that Miami got blown out like they did the other night by them. But that was right as the Butler thing was happening. All those things were coming. And it just, it is what it is. It just happened to be that way for Miami. All right, got a couple of things to get to here as we hopefully this will work for us. It's been and here we go again. Whoa, okay, hold on. I thought I fixed that. Sorry, guys. I put myself up in the show again on multiple devices. In stereo. You know what I mean? In stereo. I did get the final score graphic up, so let me just throw that up for you now. And we got 114-98. So I'm working this, the 2-phone system, or the 2, you got the phone, you got the computer. It actually works really well if knuckleheaded me gets it right. And there you have it, 114-98. And again, when you're talking about what happened in this game, it was definitely all about the ball movement, the defensive rotations, so many great things to think about tonight when you talk about your Miami Heat and the way that they won this game. And we are going to give some accolades in a minute. Oh, there's another one loading. We got 2. 2 out of 4 ain't bad. Oh, man, this is too much fun, right? We're just working on the stars of the game now, getting them up there for you. I'll give you a hint. One of them, Steph Curry. How could it not be? 31 points, right? 31 points. And I just have to figure out how to enter the studio on my phone without being put on the screen in my computer, which I should have to give permission through the computer for anyone who comes in, and I should have these things figured out by now. So I apologize for the momentary hiccup on that. And where is it? The other star of the game is bang, bang, right there. Okay, we got this, no doubt. And just like the Heat, you're going to Utah. I expect them to get revenge on Thursday night. I think that's a vengeance game for them, and they're going to do it. They're going to win that game, and more on that in a minute. And this is where you become a sharp. Are you a sharp? I'm a sharp. We're all sharps, right? So 114-98 the final, all right, and the Warriors go down. And so let's take a look at the moment, the turning point of the game. Jaquez Jr., 9 straight points in the first quarter. They went on a 21-7 run. It was a 12-3 burst, really. The 21-7 run to end the quarter was great, but the 12-3 burst, and Jaquez scored 9 straight points. Do the math. 12 minus 3 is 9. It's all Jaquez, right? It's all Jaquez. So a great job by Jaime. He's turning into a baller. He's hitting those threes. They said it on the telecast tonight, Eric Reed, and I love Eric. Shout out Eric Reed, John Crotty. He hits his threes with any kind of consistency. This dude could become a really, really good player. Jaime Jaquez Jr. Burks can score in spurts. I like Highsmith with all the intangibles. A lot of Heat culture type players accumulated on this roster. And whatever they end up doing with Jimmy Butler, which my preference would be, don't give him the extension. You can't give him the extension now. It's ridiculous to give it to him anyway. Sorry, Jimmy. I love you. We got the same name. My family all calls me Jimmy. And I wish I could charge $100 for every cup of coffee I sold. You're just ripping dudes off because they play in the NBA. Good on you. Good on you if you can do it, Jimmy. Good job. Capitalism, free enterprise, $100 a coffee. Hallelujah. Don't think, what's his name? Schultz wouldn't try to do it if he couldn't, if he could. You know what I'm saying? So that's the moment. And really in the fourth quarter, it was Jovic, 9 straight points, who shut the door and slammed it shut on the Dubs. More on Nicola in a minute. All right. First things first. I grease freaks all the honeys, dummies, Playboy bunnies, those wanting money, even Warriors fans. But I'll say this, the star of the game that you're going to see first is, come on, the man who put the stars and stripes around his shoulders and lifted all of us up the way never mind. I was going to say the way no president has, but never mind. This is not a political show. Jim, the way he lifted us all up and put the stars and stripes in everyone's face worldwide in that gold medal game. Steph Curry putting France to sleep. You know what I mean? And just everybody in the crowd there in Paris and Stephen Curry carrying Team USA to that gold medal. So you got to love Steph, right? Bam's teammate. Steve Kerr was the coach. But Curry in this game tonight was cooking. The chef cooking with Curry. 31 points, 8 of 17 from 3. He had 7 rebounds as well, but it would not be anywhere near enough to overcome the total team effort of your Miami Heat with 6 guys in double figures, including Bam Adebayo with 19 points and 9 rebounds, including Jaime Jaquez Jr. with 18 points and 5 boards. But neither one of them is your star of the game tonight. By the way, if you own a company, you should sponsor Star of the Game. Your star of the game for your Miami Heat, shout out Mike Biamane, is the prodigy. When this kid grows into his body, when this kid grows into his game, Jovic and Jaquez, oh boy, those J and J boys, the silent J's. It's not silent, it sounds like a Y. Jovic and Jaquez, you got one J that sounds like a Y and one J that sounds like an H. But these dudes are young, they're hungry, they can ball. Jovic, when he grows into that body and puts 15 pounds of muscle on, dude, he played great tonight. 20 points, 6 boards, 4 assists. And in the second half, when it mattered most, he was, dare I say, taking over the game. Nikola Jovic. And one more thing I want to say about the Heat tonight. They went right at Draymond Green. They went right at him all night, and it was great. First it was Jaquez, then it was Ware. They just went at Dre all night long, and he got a second foul early in the first quarter, got taken out. Changed a little bit of the game. It changed a little bit of the game. There's no doubt about that it did. It changed a little bit of the game. And, you know, for the Heat at that moment, and don't get me wrong, Draymond Green would not have made one crap's bit of difference, you know, in this game, in that first quarter, the way that Miami was playing, the way that they were moving the ball. Always the extra pass tonight. When in doubt, dish it out. When in doubt, dish it out. I might have to, you know what? That's another shirt. That's 2 shirts I gave you in one show. When in doubt, dish it out. Seriously, make the extra pass. Coaches preach this nonstop, man. Make the extra pass. And when you do, it almost always leads to good things. Very unselfish play from Miami tonight. And when the bench players and the guys who don't normally light up the scoreboard start doing it, and they're getting easy shots, and you're dishing that ball all around and getting the extra shot or the extra pass before the shot, all these things, what happens? What happens? You're on the road and your bench scored. How many did I tell you? How many points did their bench have? 32, 43, 49 points. And the Dubs, they're at home, and that's when your bench is supposed to really, I mean, they had 21 bench points and the Heat had 49. When those bench players and those players that don't normally score a ton, when they start lighting up the scoreboard, funny thing happens to their defense, their rebounding, their hustle stats. All those things get lit up too. And every coach worth anything knows that. And every star worth anything knows that. And there are some nights, and hey, Kobe used to say they're not putting in the work, they don't deserve it. But everyone on this Miami Heat team puts in the work. And everyone on this Miami Heat team is deserving of some of that reward. Everyone is. I mean, it just is that kind of team. And all you need to know about this team, which is why you love them, right? You have to love them if you're a fan. The way that they come out after a 3-game losing streak, when they're exhausted in the fourth quarter, overtime, and second OT last night in Sacramento, the way that they came out tonight, are you kidding me? And the way they finished the first quarter and the fourth quarter tonight are all you need to know about this team. I'm being dead serious, man. They scored 30 in the fourth tonight, 29 in the first, 32 in the second. But think about that. Dead ass tired all night. It's a back-to-back. You take the bus over late at night. You go to bed, whatever it is. Come out tonight and light them up in the first quarter, and you finish it that way in the fourth. That is heart. That is guts, desire, determination. That is Heat culture, right? You're in shape. But most importantly, that is a group of players as individuals and as a group. They want it. They really want it. And I love this Miami Heat team for that. And I love this dude right here. And I'm putting his let's see, what are we going to do here? I got it. One more thing to do before we get out of here. Very unselfish tonight from Tyler Hero, by the way. And I'm just going to throw this man in here because this is all because of him. I mean, it's the Riley culture. it's everything to do with that. But you know what I mean? We're going to give you something here in a minute. But really, when I think about what the Miami Heat are doing right now and the way that they are playing, and look, it's inconsistent. It's up and down. You got blown out twice at home, and then you blew it. But after the 2 blowouts at home, you could tell the Jimmy Butler thing hit, the Indiana game happened, right? You give him a pass on that one, kind of ish, right? You give him a pass on that one. And you say, okay, all that stuff was happening in the moment, live in living color. And look, I mean, they're human, right? So you give them that game. You go on the road, played really well early against Sacramento. Second quarter, a little low. Third quarter, played great again, right? They played great again in that third quarter. And the reason I'm bringing that up is in the fourth, they faded. They faded in overtime. They faded second. Then they come out tonight with the intensity on a mission. And it is all literally because of that culture, because of the types of players they bring to this team, the types of players they draft, the types of players they trade for, the types of players free agency-wise, you know what I mean? So it's not a surprise when your Miami Heat have this type of character. It's not a surprise when your Miami Heat play with this type of urgency. It's not a surprise when they end 3-game losing streaks with a big win on the road like this. It's just not a surprise, because that's Heat culture, and that's what they've done so many times over and over again, so many times over the years. You know what I mean? And literally, it's the culture. But in this case, I mean, when you coach LeBron James and Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh to a couple of titles and 4 finals appearances, you know what I mean? It's not going to be you're going to get the respect of everybody from now. When LeBron and them first came in there going, hey, is Riley going to take over again? What's going to happen? No, it didn't happen that way. And you know why? Because he believed in Eric Spoelstra. He believed in him. And he wasn't going to make the same mistake that happened with Stan Van Gundy again. You know, he just wasn't. And you could see that with Spoelstra. Believed in him, gave him the shot, gave him every chance in the world to succeed, gave him the best players in the world. And I'll tell you what, that means a lot. And the results have been there with Spo and with this team right here and what he did last night. And then again tonight, after you lose those games at home, you get drubbed in the second one. You're dealing with the Jimmy Butler thing. He's pulling guys out of the G League. And there he is, Eric Spoelstra, 114-98. Your Miami Heat with the win. Make sure you watch and listen to Locked On Heat every day. Those guys do a phenomenal job. Make sure you check out Locked On NBA, all the other great shows, anything you want on the network, on the podcast network. But always make sure you come back for your Heat postcast. We'll be back Thursday night after the game in Utah against the Jazz. They've won 2 in a row in Salt Lake City, looking to make it 3. And they did it tonight, snapped the 3-game losing streak with a big win, 114-98 over the Golden State Warriors. Very strong performance by Miami. 29 points in the first, 30 in the fourth, coming out and not paying attention to those tired bones and muscles they had last night. Ought to be young again right now. And in the Heat doing a great job here tonight. But Jovic with 20 to lead the way. Bam with 19. Jaquez with 18, right? On an off night for Tyler Hero, who only had 14. But the Heat pick up the win. They go to 18-17, break the 3-game losing streak, and they head to Utah on Thursday. That's all there is, Heat fans. There is no more. Thank you so much for watching, listening to your Heat postcast on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Jim Grieshaber, call me Grease, Gries, at Jim Grease _ on social media. Thanking you profusely, as always, for being here. You are the best part of what we do. Smash that subscribe for us, hit the bell, and thank you again for coming on in with the comments in the chat room. Thank you, Remy and Daniel and all you guys in there. Still waiting on Josh Christopher and Kashad Johnson. They'll get there, man. They will get there. They played well the other night in garbage time, and those guys will get there. Keep your game tight and your mind right, Heat fans.